Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Georgiana with Expressions Craft Studio, and today we are looking at making some of these really cute DIY vintage letters from Natasha with treasure books. And I believe, if I remember correctly, I saw this several days ago and have been meaning to get back to them. I believe they're intended to be inclusions for junk journals, and with the intent of opening them up and being able to write on them. Now hers were pretty elaborate, and she embossed all but one of them, I think, just to show you that you don't have to emboss it. So I started with, I started with this one, and I didn't wet my paper first on this one, and I didn't apparently have my sandwich quite right. It was too tight, and it did end up tearing my paper a little bit. I'm going to try to, right through there's a few, and over here, I think you can see as that comes apart, there's a few tears in there. It's not anything that you can't recover from, but if you're wanting to write on it, putting glue on it or tape on it's going to affect your ability to write on it. So, this one probably would be the easiest to write on. It's got the smoothest embossing, but still not ideal in my opinion, just because of the tears in it. But I do love the way these look, and I do think it's a really simple way to add a writing page or embellishment that you can, journal on later. It's a little tricky for me getting it tucked back in, and I will link her video below because she does such a lovely job with her videos and her explanations. I just wanted to try it and figure out where I would mess it up, which, right off the bat, I ended up, you can see there we go. It cut through all the layers of the paper right there. So you definitely want to wet your paper. Now this is really thin copy paper. I think it's 20 pound. It could be 22. Probably not. It could even be, if they make it less than 20 pounds. I don't know. It's pretty thin. It's some tea dyed paper that I'd done, or actually coffee dyed, that I had done last year. So it's thin paper. But that's okay. So then I did one of these, I don't know which one, used a folder that I believe my friend Bonnie gave to me, and I folded them no, that's the same way. And then she embellishes them. Now, she does a lot more in her embellishings than I do, because I do want people to be able to write on it. I think that's the point. I did ink it because I do think the inking makes the embossing stand out really nicely. And I inked a little bit on both sides, and again, this is that coffee dyed paper that I did last year, but then I inked both the front and the back just to make that embossing stand out a little bit, because I presume, and I'm no expert, but I presume that over time this embossing, with humidity and pressure from being in a book and stuff, will eventually kind of reduce the embossed look a little bit, kind of flatten out, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So anyway, I inked it so that it would still show up in the future if that does happen. I even thought about trying to iron one out with my either with my regular steam iron or with my Cricut press, but I haven't done that yet, so I'll let you know if I do. But I kept my embellishments toward the outside edge of this front piece, just because this way it's still a piece of paper that you can write on, because it's only this little piece up across here where I put those pearls that would be in the way, and that's just along the very edge. I do think they're beautiful. She decorates hers far nicer than I have. It just kind of depends on the look that you're going for. So if you're doing the ABC challenge that's all the rage, I started it, or I signed up to do it with Marguerite from, who is she with? Who's her? Seven Plaza. And then I noticed that Kara Brandon, who I also follow, is also doing it. So if you're interested in that, I'll try to put the link for that below too. But basically it's a letter of the alphabet for every day of the month, and then I don't know what they do when they get to the end of the month past the 26 letters, but A is for antique, or a couple of other options too, but I think these kind of look antique-y, so that's what I'm going with. So these are the two that are two of the three I've decorated so far, and I used the same embossing folder on them. One other thing that I did learn, and I think you can see that spot right there, I actually printed this. This actually is not the tea-dyed paper. This I printed. This one is, but this one isn't. I printed this on some of my heavier cardstock or printer paper. It's 28-pound printer paper. And so I printed front and back, and then I sprayed it to wet it down so it wouldn't tear going through the embossing folder. Plus, it's a bigger embossing folder, so I was actually able to leave it open and put it through that way. But you can see where the water created water droplets when I sprayed it. They're not super visible on camera, but you can see them. That one probably stands out the best because apparently the inkjet ink takes a little while longer to dry than I anticipated. So if that's the look you want, that's great. If it's not, just keep that in mind. But they do fold in pretty nicely, and I am going to make one for you here just so you can see it. Then I did this blue one. Now I did not emboss this blue one because I was having problems with my embossing machine, and so I've been playing with my sandwiches a little bit today to make sure I can actually turn it through. I'm pretty strong, and I couldn't get it all the way through. One of them I had to, I think it was this, well, both of those I had to put halfway through, take it out, flip it around, put the other half through, and take it out. So I don't know if I've messed up my machine or if it's just the difference of embossing folders, whatever. But so this time I actually printed it on a piece of the 28-pound cardstock, and it's very subtle. Oh, maybe that shows up a little bit better. So you can see I've got a flower, and then what is that? That's a butterfly. And again, I printed this on the inkjet. What I did was I took one of my backgrounds from one of my mini purchases from Creative Fabrica, and it's a blue kind of vintage junk journal page, and it's just plain, but it's kind of mottled looking. And then I took some flowers from some of my clip art and made them transparent so that they hardly show up, because I thought that would imitate the embossed look, and it does a little bit, but not quite what I was going for. So again, it just unfolds. Now this one's backwards because I wasn't paying attention. I had it upside down. The back side is just plain. I did not print on it. Well, I did. I just didn't print the flowers and butterflies on it. So it's just a plain kind of mottled looking blue background. But then the front, let me see if we can flip this over, has got the printing, which kind of shows up and kind of doesn't. And then I did ink the edges, just kind of make it stand out a little bit. Anyway, so it just folds inside itself. There's no rocket science, or nothing complicated, no complicated mechanisms or anything, other than you're just trying to fold it inside itself. But it folds up really nice, like a little envelope or little pocket thing. So they're really cute. So this one is the one I just did today, and this is again the thin tea dyed or coffee dyed. I don't know why I keep saying tea. I don't drink tea. I don't drink coffee either. Maybe that's why. But I bought a cheap can of coffee just to try this technique, and I used a different embossing folder. This is a Tim Holtz. What did I do with it? This is this Ellison from, well, it's copyrighted Ellison. It's a Tim Holtz folder, embossing folder. So I thought I'd try it today, and it worked pretty good. I did have to play with my sandwich, so I couldn't do it the normal way, and it's still kind of drying. I got it a little too wet, but it didn't tear, so that's good. So I'll finish decorating that at some point later. And so then the other sheet that I printed out is this one here. And it again has a really pale flower, which I don't think you can kind of see it right there a little bit. And again, it's just an outline of a flower, and then I made it transparent or translucent so that you could just kind of get a hint or a shadow of it. I didn't make the butterflies quite as dark, and the background paper is more of a greenish blue instead of blue, but I think that'll work. So I'm going to show you. I apparently got it wet because I had sprayed right on my desk. I'm going to show you how she did that. So we want to keep that side up, which is the same on both. So you can fold it. You can either fold it while it's in the portrait position, or you can turn it and do it in the landscape position. I think because of, well, I was going to say because of the way I did my butterflies, they go both ways. We're going to do it this way. So what you want to do is you want to fold it to where your ends come together in the center, top and bottom lined up. I think that's pretty good. You don't want a gap because that will affect the way it folds in on itself. And again, you just kind of want to just double check. I'm probably making it more complicated than it needs to be. Plus this paper is a heavier weight, so I'm just reinforcing those seams here. Now this, I just printed this maybe 20 minutes ago, so it may not be quite dry yet, so we'll see. I'm going to flip my top fold down, just making sure I kind of line up my edges. And then just kind of gather where that's going to be. And I'm going to fold that down. Give it a good crease, and then I think it'll tuck in itself pretty nicely. That's the good thing about the heavier paper. It's a little bit easier to, well, I say that. It's not as flimsy, so it generally does tuck in a little bit easier than I'm making it look. I don't know if it's getting caught on the back or what it's doing. There we go. There we go. So then you can, you know, opt to decorate it or not. I do think I will get out my hot wax and some of my wax seals and do a little bit of that just because I like the way that looks. And again, it would be on the edge, so it wouldn't interfere with anybody's writing space. But let's go ahead and get this prepped to run it through the embossing machine again. So where's my water bottle? Here it is. I love these. I don't even know if you can still get them. These distress sprayer vaporizers from Tim Holtz. I got these at Joann's years ago. Well, from Ranger it says, but it's all kind of the same thing, isn't it? Yeah, anyway, I'm going to spray this off camera here. Try not to overdo it like I did my previous one. And then let's put this in this folder here. I wonder, nope, I got to do both. All right, so I'm going to try to run this through and then I will show you my sandwich. All right, we got that to go through. Let me slide that up so you can see it better. So the big reveal. Ta-da! That looked pretty good. Now I did, because I got the last one so wet, I had to work at it pretty carefully to get those layers to come apart, because as you can imagine, there's a lot of pressure pushing everything together. And I think wetting it, while it helps keep it from breaking, it also kind of helps try and turn it back into one piece of folded, you know, non-folded paper. Does that make sense? All right, so all right, so it looks pretty good. It actually seems to look more blue now than green. I don't know what changed, but I like it. You really can't make out the print in the back because it was so subtle to begin with, which is good. All right, so this was the folder I used. Now my sandwich, what I normally do is I normally have my Sizzix with my spellbinders or my Spellbinders Platinum 6. I get my names all confused. And then I have this Magic Mat, which is very well worn, as you can see. I need to get another one, in fact. And then I have a metal shim behind it, because I wasn't getting a lot of impressions, or things weren't cutting well. And then I would put my folder, which I set over here, in here. Now occasionally I'd use the blue plate that came with my sandwich set. It really just depends on the folder. You're going to have to play with it, I think. Maybe your machine, if it's a mechanical machine or electric machine, isn't as picky, but when I'm hand cranking it, and like I said, I'm pretty strong, and I can't get it to go through, but I still try. I don't know if I've messed up the settings or the tension on my machine, but I had to play with it, and I had to play with it a number of times. So what I ended up doing was taking the Magic Mat along with the metal plate away, and I even ended up taking this away because I went through several different reiterations of what would work and what didn't work. And what I ended up doing was I have this self-healing cutting mat that I'd cut up years ago, and thinking it would work like the Magic Mat. It didn't. But again, might not have had my sandwich right. So what I did on one of them, I only needed one of these and one of these. Or two of those, I could say, and then the clear plate on the top. That worked for one of them. But then the next time I went to run it through with a different piece of paper, it wouldn't go through. So that was the difference between these two, the thinner paper and the 28-pound paper. Again, copy paper. So the third time I did it, I ended up doing those two sheets on the bottom, my folder, and then the third one on the top, and that's what worked for me. So don't be afraid to play with it, but what I would say is don't force it. If you really can't crank it through, then you should just try something different. Maybe you need a couple pieces of cardstock underneath. Maybe you need to take out those pieces of cardstock, but just keep playing with it, because you can find a way to work it if you, if you take the time to figure it out. These I have had sitting in my cabinet over there for 2 years, 3 years, something like that. Probably at least 2. Well, we've been here almost 4, so probably 3, close to 3 years, and that's how long. And then I remembered them today, and I thought, well, let me go try those, and they actually worked for me. So just something for you to keep in mind. As I set all this stuff off out of the way. So then we're going to ink. Now I'm going to use, I have the blue ink here, but I think it's too blue for this, because it's a midnight. It's a pretty bright dark blue. I think I'm just going to use my vintage photo, and I'm just going to go around the edges a little bit. Just to kind of age it. A little bit more on this side. I'll do the back side. Alright, so now I'm going to take and I'm just going to do a little bit on the back. I want to see what it'll look like, and I'm just lightly brushing over that embossing just to age it a little bit. I might have got it a little darker there than I would have really wanted it, but it's okay. It's just kind of, there you go. It actually doesn't show up on camera as well as it does. And I say that every week. It's like, yeah, George, we know. I've just got one of those sponge applicators on here. The flat sponges, I think they were Tim Holtz. So anyway, you can do this as much or as little as you want. I'm not going to probably do a whole lot more just because Oops, see, I'm bending it. So then you would pick out your favorite embellishments. And when I'm embellishing it, I know that this is the edge right here that I'm going to embellish. So I like to kind of open it up so I don't accidentally glue things together. If I can do that without tearing it. And then because I've inked it, I can easily see where my fold lines are as I add a little bit more ink. So then I would just work between these two folds right here on the edge. Now that's just me. Like I said, I want this to be able to be a full sheet where somebody can journal on it, or maybe they want to stick some ephemera on there or doodle. Well, you probably couldn't doodle because of the embossing, but then again, you never know. Like I said, I'm going to try to flatten one of these out just so I can see if it will, and I will let you know. But yeah, at that point, you're just going to decorate it. And I'm not sure yet how I want to decorate this one. It's having a little trouble getting it back in there. There we go. But that'll just tuck really nicely into a junk journal, into a pocket or a belly band, even an envelope for that matter. So there's all kinds of things that you can do with these. I think they're really clever, and I'm going to share the link for her video down below, along with I was going to share something else. Maybe it was just, oh, the ABC challenge. ABC 1, 2, 3. I bet that's what they do. I bet they start with the 1, 2, 3 after they're finished with the alphabet. Oops, knocking stuff off. I'm wondering if this is just some cheap lace that I've had forever. It's kind of an off-white, but because I use that antique linen, I feel like it might work. Oh yeah. It actually doesn't look too bad. I could even go a little darker, I think. But yeah, just decorate with what you have. And if you don't have lace, but you have dyes that will imitate lace, use those. Cut images out of magazines and back them with some cardstock, like flower images, or, sorry, I'm trying to get this put back together. You know, you have so many options. I don't know, this is kind of thick, but I like it. Oh, I think I like that better. It definitely shows up better. And I used Fabri-Tac to glue down my lace just because I want to make sure it stays nice and will help keep it from the ends from raveling out. Some of these will ravel pretty good, or fray if that's a word you prefer. But yeah, I think I might use that. Now I don't know what I'll put over the top of it. It definitely needs something else, but I'll think of something. So yeah, decorate them the way you like. And if you check out her video, she'll definitely give you more ideas. And I've got some fabric and tools and stuff like that that I could use. I just haven't dug it all out yet, but I just think these are adorable. And so many different ways to decorate them. So let me know what you think, guys. I would love to hear what you think, and I would really love it if you check out her video. She does a lot of amazing stuff, and she's got a couple more videos I want to try her techniques on. The other thing I'll say is that I have saved so many videos to go back and watch later to try to duplicate their results. And I think I'm going to start doing, I can't do one a day as much as I'd like to. I just can't. I don't think I can do one a day. But I'm going to at least do one a week. And I'm going to try to do more like 2 or 3 a week, where I bring you these different techniques from all of these different creators, because there's so many of them that have such really cool ideas. Geeker is one that I love. Right now she's making a lot of baubles and tassel type things for your junk journals. Natasha with treasure books, Marguerite with Seven Plaza, and there are so many others. So I'm going to just try to start doing different videos. my next one's going to be a card. Let me flip over and see if I can find on my laptop here. It's going to be a Cricut video, but you don't have to have a Cricut. I'll give you the measurements if you want to just cut the pieces yourself. It's a die, and what I've done is I haven't duplicated it, but it's a die by In Love Hearts, rectangular shapes that go across the front. Let me see if I can switch over and kind of give you a preview here. Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. So this isn't a picture of their actual die, but it's kind of a rough look of the way their die ends up looking when you've cut everything out. And I've done it in 4 different ways here, believe it or not. And you can choose which one you want. So that's going to be the next video. It's going to be this card front, which is cased kind of from In Love Hearts. It's not an exact duplicate of their design, but it's just my take on it, which it's pretty close to the same, but not quite. So that's going to be our next video, and I'll work on that here pretty quick. I got to cut it out and do a couple tests, but that'll be the next one. So anyway, I'm going to keep this short for today, or at least I hope I have. Well, it's at 26 minutes. I don't know if you think that's short. For me it is, but again, I just think these are so darling, and by using digitals you can create whatever look you want in the background. The tea stained or coffee stained or Easter egg stained papers are also great. I found that I didn't enjoy the process as much as I thought I would, but I might try it again with this thicker paper now that I've done it once. Anyway, I'm going to let you guys go. I hope you have, everybody is safe that are in the path of these storms in the U.S. right now. We're in the middle of it, but so far, so good. And until next time, guys, happy crafting.